Hello friends and welcome. I'm Sarah Liz and I am back with another emergency card kit. If you're new here, an emergency card is one where we make the cards ahead of time, but we leave the sentiments off. That way, when an occasion arises, we can choose the card that best fits the recipient and the sentiment that best fits the occasion. And it's a big day, you guys. Emergency card kits just turned 2. That means that there are over 50 kits full of free printable, interchangeable sentiments and card sketches because I'm on a mission to make card making more affordable and more accessible for everyone. And this kit is huge, like enormous. And I can't wait to share it with you. Before I forget, I do want to let you know I'm going to be the guest on Craft Roulette tonight. It's January 3rd, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm filling in for May Holmes, who isn't feeling well. So I didn't want to forget to tell you, I'm also the co-host for the Community Showcase show that is part of Craft Roulette that will be on Saturday the 4th at noon Central Time. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of this video. Let's take a look at the kit. This is hands down the largest kit I have ever made. And really, it's a two-parter. So today I'm releasing the Sweet Birthday Kit for free on YouTube and Patreon. And then on the 3rd of the month, I'll release the Sassy Birthday Kit on YouTube and Patreon for free. But if you're a paid member of any tier, both kits are available for you today. And I've merged them into a single PDF to make it easier for you to keep all your birthday items together. So here's what we have for this kit. Another year older. Happy delightful day, wishing you a beautiful birthday, create a year to remember. I heard there'd be cake, HBD, so happy birthday. Woohoo, let's celebrate. Happy birthday wishes. Happy birthday vibes, wish big, happy belated birthday, fabulous birthday wishes, happy day, happy birthday, sorry I'm late, beautiful birthday wishes, big birthday vibes. These circles are 1 3/4 of an inch and that black circle print's just a little bigger. It helps you to center your die or your punch. And then on page 2, you get the same sentiments and the same sizes, but I've removed that circle in case you want to use a different size circle or a different shape altogether. Then we have rectangle sentiments. If you don't have punches or dies, this page is great because you can cut these out using just your trimmer. There's tick marks on the side to help you. They're 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 inches. They're mostly the same sentiments, though some of the fonts have changed to make them fit better. Then we have our card sketch. We'll make 2 of these today. All your measurements are on here. This little piece can be a little tricky if you haven't done something like this before, so I'll show you how. Then over here, you have notes on how to stretch that sketch and ways to get the most out of it with more inspiration, along with instructions for cutting out the different types of sentiments. This is completely free on YouTube. These first 4 pages are linked in the description box below the video. If you aren't super techie, just click on more or show more and it will unpack that description box. I have tons of useful things in there for you, including a link to the other emergency card kit playlist in case you're looking for more freebies like this one, all of the supplies that we've used, a link to my Patreon, and a link to this download. It's going to take you into Google Drive. You download it for free, and that is it. I do have a Patreon community with both free and paid membership options. And if you download the kit from Patreon, you get more pages for free. I try to pin this to the top until the next kit comes out to make it easier for people to find. There will also be a link to that post in my Patreon for you, but you do have to sign up. So I'll include a link to the video walking you through what is my Patreon, how do you join for free right below that in case you've never done it before. So in the free download on Patreon, you're also going to get strip sentiments with all of those same sentiments. So we have 2 fonts here. Both of these are kind of whimsical. We have a skinny one and then a slightly chunkier one. And then we have 2 more fonts. One is scripty and one is a very classic serif font. I love these so much. I use a ton, like a ton of these. And so I'm always delighted to give you lots of options. Also for free in Patreon, you guys, the rest of this stack is all free on Patreon. The exact same sentiments, but with a black background and a white text. That circle is there to help you center your punch or die all the same. Then the same sentiments in a rectangle sentiment form. Then I have some digital ephemera for you. There are only 4 images. They've been repeated. Okay, so you get 4 of each image. In the top ones, I've included that circle around them to help you get them centered if you wanted to use a punch or a die to cut them out. And they would fit on our sketches the same way your sentiments do. Down here, I removed that circle in case you wanted to fussy cut or use your scan and cut or do some other shape or size that works a little bit better for you. I love being able to include some of these digital images for you for free. Then we have 9 sheets of digital paper. This is a birthday text background. It says, "Happy birthday, wishing you a year filled with joy and wonder, thinking of you on your birthday, happy birthday, have a fantastic day." It's just a bunch of really sweet sentiments for a birthday. So over here, this is great for a portrait style card. Here's an A2 card for reference, so it will fit beautifully. And then you've got some wiggle room as well. When we rotate, this is great for a landscape style card. So same size really, but it's just going the other direction and it gives you tons of options. This first page is black. Then we have gray, pink, purple, teal, blue, green, orange, like a marigold orange, and rainbow. We're going to use this one today. I'm super excited about it. I absolutely love how this one turned out. So all of that you've seen so far is free in a single PDF download over on my Patreon. This is a huge download and I hope it brings you a lot of inspiration and joy. These next pages are for paid members of my Patreon. This is for the $2 tier. So we start at $2. It's pretty affordable. And what I love about this is that I'm going to show you in detail the sweet birthday items, but then I'll give you just a really, really quick sneak peek of the sassy birthday items as well, because you guys have access to those today. So I have happy birthday in 6 different fonts, and these are bigger. These are 3/8 of an inch. Don't worry about 1/8 of inches. You're just going to use your tick marks to cut them out, but it means that your mat is a 1/2 inch, which is really easy to cut. So you have all of these on one page. Then also at that $2 level, you're going to get that birthday text background as a full 8.5 by 11. The font is a little bit bigger here, and you can do so many additional things. This is going to fit really, really well on your 5 by 7 cards and things like that. So we have the same colors: black, gray, pink, bluey purple, teal, blue, green, orange, and rainbow. And I just cannot tell you how much I love this one. The next tier is my $5 tier, and they're going to get all those same strip fonts in white text on black. So you have all 4 fonts, all the same sentiments, all of your happy birthdays. I printed mine with a laser printer, so these are going to be amazing for foiling with my mini Mink. Then that $5 tier is getting the same full page background text, but we have black and gray. Then when it comes to the colors, you're going to get each of the same colors, but they come in a light, medium, and dark now. What I love to do with these is to print them onto colored cardstock for a really great tone-on-tone. This is light pink. A lot of these lights you're going to have a hard time seeing, but in person, I promise it's there. It's subtle and beautiful. So this one is light purple, and I must have printed the wrong pages, but there is a light, medium, and dark of the purple, teal, blue, green, orange. So it's sort of a marigold orange. So by the time we get over here, it's almost like a burnt umber. It's going to be great for fall. And of course, rainbow. So that's that $5 tier. This last handful of pages is for both the $12 and $25 tiers. They get the same PDF pages here, but the differences in the 2 tiers come in the image files that they get. Both tiers get the circle and rectangle sentiments as resizable image files with transparent backgrounds. They're like digital stamps. But then our $25 tier also gets all of the images and digital papers as resizable image files. So they get tons and tons of really versatile content there. And they get a spreadsheet that has every sentiment I've ever made. There's over 1,000, 1,200 sentiments in there. and you can search by wording or by theme. So here's what they get in their kit. It includes a whole bunch of digital images. There were 4 in the free Patreon version. This one has 16. The top row and the bottom row don't fit inside the circle, okay? So you actually get 2 pages, one with circles around that middle row and one without, depending on how you want to cut them out. But there's tons of options here. We have packages and gifts in a bunch of different varieties. And then we have a whole bunch of cupcakes. Really, it's the cupcakes with the candles that just didn't fit inside that circle. Then I've been saving the best for last. We get that birthday background, but with an ombre gradient that goes clear up the page. So we have pink, purple, blue, green, and orange. And I am in love with these backgrounds. I would love to know what you think. Let me know if you're interested in more text backgrounds in future kits. If you're interested in downloading the free version of my kits, I am so excited for you to do so and for you to get crafty. All I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. It helps me to reach more crafters and to make card making more affordable and more accessible for everyone. As promised, I do want to give you a quick sneak peek of the kit that's coming out on the 3rd Friday of the month. So if you are a paid member of Patreon at any tier, you can get your pages today. If you're downloading the free versions of the kits, this will come out in 2 weeks. No problem either way. But we have a whole bunch of sassy birthday sentiments. You can take a screenshot if you just can't wait to read them all. Then we have our rectangle sentiments. Then a card sketch. I'm super excited about this one. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. It also has your how to stretch a sketch, since we won't get to this one for a couple of weeks. Free on Patreon. So again, not for another 2 weeks. We have all of our strip sentiments in those same 4 fonts. We have our circle sentiments with the white text on black. We have our rectangle sentiments with white text on black. I can't get over, look at the dumpster fire. It's so cute. Cutest little dumpster fire you ever did see. Then we have more digital paper, 3 of my favorites. So we have this one, and then some streamers coming down from the ceiling, then a balloon background that I absolutely love. I am team purple and team teal. I want to know what color team you are on. If you become a paid member, you can download all of those pages and then additional pages starting today. So at the $2 level, you'll get all of those. And then we have some extra colorways for some of those digital backgrounds. I love this balloon background. One of my kids loves red, the other loves blue. They just love this one. And then here is those balloons in greens, which is my mom's favorite color. At the $5 tier, you're going to get all the strip sentiments with a black background and white text. And then you're also going to get the dumpster fire and the fire extinguisher as resizable PNG files. So you can put those on all of your favorite goodies. You could iron that onto your sweatshirt if you really wanted to. I've been thinking about making some inspiration there. Then at our $12 and $25 tiers, I have more digital backgrounds. So they'll both get all of the PDF versions of these. Here's one balloon background, and then this one. Guys, those 2, hard to pick between them. I love all of the gifts and balloons in this one. Then we have a couple backgrounds that I think are really great for just a small little focal point in the center. I love these a lot. Just for a little perspective, this is the kit that released today, okay? This is over 50 pages. It's so awesome. I'm so excited. And then this one is coming out in 2 weeks. If you are a free download person, cool. You'll just wait 2 weeks to download this one. If you're a paid member of Patreon at any tier, you're going to access this kit the same way you've been accessing your kits all along, because I've put them in the same PDF for you. Okay, so in the description box below the video, click on more or show more, unpack that description box. The free YouTube download is down there. But then there are also quick links into Patreon for each of the different tiers. Make sure that you're logged in, okay? Patreon likes to log people out, and then it tells you you need to pay money for something you've already paid for. Don't do that. Just make sure you're logged in and then click that link again. And if you make cards with these kits, remember, there's a show and tell forum in Patreon that's available to everybody, even our free members, and I can't wait to see what you made. All right, let's make some cards. I have two A2 panels. That's the light gray, 4¼ by 5½. You really only need one, but I want to show you a couple options for those triangle pieces. This piece is the purple piece, 3¾ by 1 inch. And then I'm putting this in my trimmer and I'm cutting diagonally across it. The instructions are really for gluing this down on top of your A2 panel, but I didn't really want to do that. I wanted that panel raised. So instead, I'm going to bring this over to my printable, and I just printed this at 100%. That's the default for most printers. And it means that that card sketch is exactly the same size as my card. So I'm just going to use that marking for the purple section as a place to put little pencil lines on my panel, and then I can trim off my triangles. If you didn't want to do that, or you don't have a printer, you could just cut these according to the directions, and then I'm going to temporarily adhere one of my triangles to the bottom to show you. You can just use that as a template, or you could make pencil marks from that template, but I didn't want to have to erase more pencil marks. So this is just another option. On the third card, I will show you yet another option where we're just gonna wing it. I'm adding some wet glue so I can wiggle this into place. It's sometimes a little trickier because the triangles are missing, so this gives me wiggle room. Then I have 2 sentiment mats. I have a 1½ by 2½ inch rectangle and a 2-inch circle. You could use one or the other or just a strip sentiment, but these are our standard mats for an emergency card sentiment, and I like adding both. It gives me more flexibility later. I love adding a die cut to something simple like this. These are the bold numbers from Spellbinders. They coordinate with these color mix numbers press plates for your better press, or you can hot foil them, but I'm just using the dies. They were very careful about this, so you can use the dies alone, and I'm going to ink blend a little bit from the bottom. So I am just using my giant fluffy Spellbinders brush. This is my favorite way to create a gradient that is going to fade away to nothing at the top. I've chosen a medium ink puffy heart to get started, and then I'll bring in purple wine to darken that up just at the bottom. Once I'm done with that, I will bring in a little bit of metallic watercolor, like a pearl watercolor that I got from Spellbinders, and I will flick on some of that ink as well. Though I tell you what, by the time I'm done, I'm going to change my mind about the pink. By the time I set it on top of my card and I was looking at it, I just felt like there wasn't enough contrast between that very light pink at the top of the 70 and the mostly white background that's on our digital pattern paper. So I'm adding my little flicks here. I like to tap down to make sure that the ink doesn't go all over everywhere. And then I dried that ink with my heat tool because I'm super impatient. But here you can see I made another set off camera in purple, and I decided I liked that contrast a little bit more. To tie in the bold colors from our little sentiment mats, I have also brought in another set of the 7 and 0 in that medium purple. I'm creating a drop shadow, so I like to add glue onto one of the pieces, and then I like to layer down and to the right, and I do it the exact same way on pretty much every card where I create a drop shadow, just so that I don't get mixed up and end up with like some of my letters going one way and some of them going another. This way I know in my head I'm not gonna mess it up and end up having to recut die cuts. I'll add these with wet glue as well. So far, everything that we're adding to the card, I am adding on there permanently. But at the end, when we get to our sentiment, I use removable adhesive. For me, that's the beauty of an emergency card. That's what makes it an emergency card, is that this is going to be in my stash ready to go for any occasion or any card giving emergency. And I can swap out that sentiment with a sentiment from any one of a number of kits. I have, technically, we're on kit 55, but there's over 60, my friends. Some of them didn't get numbered. They're like special edition kits. So if you're interested, they're all in the playlist linked below. But a little bit of that adhesive will finish off card number 1. Then we're gonna get to card number 2. So this is the large die of the month from Spellbinders. There's actually another die or pair of dies that goes with it that create an atrium, but I'm just bringing in the blooms for now. Spellbinders has a couple of die cutting clubs and embossing folder clubs and stuff. They open on the 6th of the month. So there's a link to this below, but if you click on it, it may not be available to purchase yet, and that's why. But I had sort of accidentally stumbled across this layout for a card, and I knew immediately that that was what I wanted to make my card sketch out of. So I thought I would share it here with you today. There are some beautiful blooms in here, and they layer together really easily. This second bloom, the second big one, I am just going to marker in on my red cardstock with a little bit of black because there are holes in that little piece of gold. And I wanted black showing through, but I didn't want to have to fussy cut a little piece to stick behind there. I honestly was a little bit surprised that there wasn't a die in this set that already fit behind it. They've been doing that a lot lately. So I am using my wet glue here, and you guys, I just got a glue press. My friend Lauren over at Lauren Taylor Made sent me this after I was like, I'm not getting one. I won't try one unless somebody sends me one. So she did. She's awesome like that. I'll link to her channel below as well because she's amazing. And then I am adding on my final pieces of the blooms. That first flower really just had like the big red petals are all one piece, and then the centers. This one has 3 additional petal pieces because we see it from the side. There are also a bunch of small flowers in this one, and so I'm adding little tiny dots of glue into all of these. I like to add my glue dots all at once, and then it's just a really quick like assembly line to add the centers into them. I think all 4 of these were supposed to have the small centers, but there's a second one of these 2-piece centers where there are holes in the top one and then a solid piece behind it. And I thought, why not? I just love that extra pop of gold on there. Then I'm using the 3D embossing folder of the month from Spellbinders. It's this beautiful sort of chain link pattern, except that it's not chain link. It's almost like braided rope. It's beautiful. I ran that through after adding just a little moisture to the back of the cardstock so it didn't crack. And then I'm going over it with some black shimmer ink from Delicata. It's going to create a very subtle shine only on those raised areas. I like Delicata for shimmer inks because it dries. It will dry all on its own. It doesn't take very long, but if you use a heat tool, it dries very fast. So I am winging this one. I didn't have a template. I hadn't put together the card sketch yet. I just cut a corner off of one side, and then I'm taping that corner to the other side. And I will use that as a guide to make sure that my triangles match. Honestly, that will do more for you than any measuring or cutting with a template will do, right? It's just that I want them to be even here. But whatever works for you, if you have another method on how you would cut these triangles, I want to know all about it. But you can see here, the piece from the bottom would fit in the spot on the top. That's how I know they're about the same size. Instead of using an entire piece of white shimmer cardstock in the background, I just cut some little strips or grabbed scraps that were in the folder of that cardstock, and I'll glue those onto my top folding card base. Then I can add my emboss panel on top of that. Spellbinders 3D embossing folders have a really, really deep emboss. And so I am going to add lots of glue. I don't want this peeling up on me, and I don't want to have to sit there and hold it for a long time while I wait for it to dry. So I'm putting it just all over the back. If you were more patient, you could use less glue and maybe just put something heavy on top of it. Then once that's secured on there, I can go ahead and start adding my flowers. I tell you what, this is not something that comes super easily to me. So I'm just trying to create little triangles. So I started with 2 leaves and a large flower to create a triangle. Then I will extend out from the bottom and up from the top of that one flower to create a larger visual triangle. That visual triangle is generally how I go about adding gems, adding floral arrangements, or anything where the packaging doesn't tell me exactly how to put it together. Though to be clear, there is packaging for this that will give you an idea of how you might put it together. To make sure I don't have to figure this all out twice, I have a silhouette mat, or like an off-brand one, that I have cut into small pieces, and I just picked up those die cuts with my mat, flip the whole card over because there's so many small pieces on this one. And then I'm going to add glue all over the backs of these blooms and leaves. And so I'm going to go ahead and put my card base right back into that same corner. But my friends, I lost a little bit of footage because I don't have any glue on the flowers right now. I only have it on the leaves. So I flipped this over, lifted it up, added glue behind the flowers as well. And this is actually me picking it up for a second time. If you're patient, you can just pick it right on up, but I'm not. So I'm sticking my little pokey tool in there to make sure that nothing comes up. But this is my favorite way to lay die cuts down exactly where I had them before. Some people use press and seal, but it's very floppy and I am just not that coordinated. For a sentiment, I am going to use our white text on black, and I am just trimming these strip sentiments so that those tick marks are touching both sides of the paper. Then I will line it up and visually I will check to make sure the tick marks are right on the blade of my trimmer, and then I'll cut. Sometimes it's a little off, like it's straight on the blade of my trimmer, but I can tell that it's not flush against that little ledge on the bottom of my trimmer, so I'll square it off first. But this one printed beautifully and I didn't have to do that at all. I have 2 extra scraps of 1/4 inch black cardstock that I am gluing right behind here. And I'm cutting off the second one when I realize I forgot to marker in the edges of my sentiment. It's printed on white cardstock, so you get like a little flash of white when you turn the card. I don't love that. If it doesn't bother you, skip this step, but I'm just using an alcohol marker and going around those outside edges. So now it looks like the white was printed onto black cardstock, and I think it adds a really nice polished look. I have a little piece of 3/8 inch gold mirror cardstock. It's from the Treasured Cardstock collection from Spellbinders. It's a really affordable specialty cardstock and it's on super sale right now because Spellbinders is still having their New Year's sale. I made a whole video walking you through it, trying to save you some time and some money, but it has just another day or 2 left on it. So I'll link that video at the end of this one. If you're interested, check it out quickly, but definitely it's worth it. Also, Hero Arts is essentially having the same sale, tons and tons of really, really great deals. So I'll link them below as well. I'm going to add a little bit of removable adhesive onto the back of this and stick that right in the top corner, just like the other card, and that will finish up card number 2. All right, my friends, those are our 2 card projects for today, and I would love to know which of these 2 very different cards is your favorite. I also have 2 live events to tell you about. First, I will be the guest on Craft Roulette tonight, January 3rd at 6:30 p.m. Normally, I tell everybody way ahead of time, but I'm filling in for May Helms. I'm a little nervous. Those are big shoes to fill, so I would love to see you over in the chatter box. Second, I will be Mary's co-host on Saturday, the next day at noon. They have a new show called the Community Showcase. They're bringing on 4 Craft Roulette veterans who've turned in tons of cards and made a bunch of process videos to share what they've done with this week's parameters for you, especially if you're new to the show. It's a really great way to get tons of inspiration right away. I will leave links to Craft Roulette and the new Community Showcase in the description box below the video. Just click on More or Show More to unpack the whole thing. There you'll find those links and links to the emergency card kit playlist, where there are tons of other videos with free printables so you can get crafting on a budget. Then I have all the supplies that I've used just in case you're interested, and a link to the free download. The short 4-page version is linked directly in that description box, but then the expanded free version is over on my Patreon. So I'll also include a tutorial in case Patreon is new for you. Finally, if you're already a paid member, there are quick links into your folders. Just make sure that you're logged in when you try to access those. Friends, I hope this is helpful for you. I can't wait to see what you create. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I will see you next time.